Coming up on this episode of Tom Talks Rubbish.
Sometimes you just do need to step away from wrestling, like because if you're always around it, you can it can get tiring. So
Yeah,
it's nice to kind of take a day off from it, but and that usually is all I need. Like, and I'm not saying like this is something that maybe happens like once every 2 months where I just need to like not watch anything. I don't need to go online. I don't want to hear anything. Like the only time it's important to me is if you have to contact me on my phone, like not like if it's like a text message from a friend, like that's instead of like going into my DMs or something like that. That's really it. And I still love it. I just need a break from it. So
yeah.
um it's but I haven't um dealt with that issue much, if at all, really.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Irish, and today I'm back with another interview. This time, I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, someone that's been on the channel many, many times. I'm joined by the one and only Rob Wilkins from coexisting with Rob and Maggie on Fight Flavor Boat. So, welcome back on the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be back and happy to be doing this show again with you. It's been a while, so it's good to see you.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you, my friend. We've talked about it quite a bit, but I like to know from the start, where did you discover wrestling, my friend? For the minor
Oh,
audience that might not know.
oh yeah. I don't recall the year, but it was like either 1985, 86, somewhere around there.
Mm.
And I remember we were at a family friend's house, and I remember I wasn't paying much attention to anything. And then all of a sudden I see on this TV this monster of a man named Andre the Giant.
Mm.
And that just hooked me right there. Like seeing him the first time and then seeing um like Hulk Hogan, seeing him the first time. Um that got me hooked getting into wrestling. I mean, that's what did it. And I was hooked ever since. I got into wrestling once I saw Andre the Giant. And it was it was that's what did it for me.
Why was that those two in particular the people that spoke to you as a fan, do you think?
Well, I think Andre the Giant was just because I was such a young age and I've never seen anything like that big. I think he
Mm.
was about he was 7 feet tall. Even on TV, it's hard to like you can't really tell the difference sometimes because of the way the by the way the camera is like. But because of him and his size, he was just like a big man. Like I compared to like seeing basketball players and stuff. You could tell like
Yeah,
people are tall, but he was just different because he was just so large compared to other people standing beside him, like Bobby Heenan, and that's what did it. And then, of course, at the time, Hulk Hogan was the good guy, and everybody cheered him. So it was just one of those things where you could kind of like you just kind of knew like that's what you were supposed to like, and I mean that's what that's just what the way it went. As I grew older, I grew wiser, and um, my fandom for Hulk Hogan went out the window. And yeah, so but yeah, and it just kept going. And then, like in the '90s, the guy right up there above me, Bret Hart, that became my that became my favorite of all time, and that's what kept me into it. And then I started seeing other guys that I liked, got into ECW, and just been into it ever since.
why did ECW speak to you so much, though, Rob?
It was different than anything I've seen before, and than anything I knew in wrestling, really. And ECW opened up so much for me because I found out what uh, tape trading was. Like
Mm.
that's what got me into tape trading, seeing these ECW events I heard about like in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but never got to see them. So I would get online on go into like the tape trading groups, and either at the time I'd have to buy my tapes, but then I ended up getting enough where I started trading them, and build up a really nice library of tapes, um and got into New Japan, and watched Puerto Rico, FMW, and then I got into uh like Ultimate Fighting for a little while. Like I got into that,
Yeah.
and I just enjoyed it because it was just so different, and ECW led me to different avenues, and I think that's what kept me being a fan when a lot of people weren't watching wrestling,
Yeah.
so there was a time, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was still watching WWF at that time because I loved wrestling, but I was really into ECW. I mean, I just loved it, and it was just my thing, and yeah.
I understand what you're saying, my friend. What is your thoughts as such a diehard ECW fan? What is your thoughts, Rob, on WWE ECW?
Um, it wasn't the same to me at all. And I don't think it was the same to anybody. Um, when when ECW closed down shop, I knew that like the ECW legacy would live on at least because I knew WWE had the tape library, and there
Mm.
were always rumors that Vince McMahon wanted to do some kind of network eventually. So I kind of always had like hope. And then of course and that was like in the early 2000s that there was like there was always this talk, and those rumors went way back. I mean, we're talking in the late 90s. There were rumors that there was wanting to be a WWE or a wrestling channel at one point.
Yeah.
There was always like rumors of that, but I just knew that eventually, just with the way that technology was going, and that eventually I would be able to see all that footage again. I knew it would be available. And I mean, there's still a lot of ECW out there that you can't get a hold of without going through a tape trader or online trader now. But it just wasn't the same. To get back to my answer, it or to get back to your question, it just wasn't the same. I mean, it was not, the matches weren't the same. The crowd wasn't the same. You didn't have the guy with the straw hat in the front row. Um, it just wasn't the same. It was just, I mean, you had like some of the same wrestlers, but they weren't doing the same things.
Yeah.
It was it just wasn't what I wanted it to be.
I understand what you're saying completely there. So when it comes to you, we talked about the fact that different avenues of wrestling have helped you maintain your fandom, sort of thing. So where is your current fandom as we record this, Rob, in February of 2025?
I watch literally everything that I can. I mean, there's some weeks that I'm behind on. Like, so there's times where I have to watch probably 3 episodes of TNA just to get caught up on. Now
Hmm.
I keep up like news wise. I keep up with everything. Like I'll read the results, but I try to watch everything. And um, sometimes I don't get to watch it like when it airs, but I will watch it. Um, but I enjoy watching everything. New Japan. I watch New Japan Strong whenever they have shows like their pay-per-views. I'd watch those. Ring of Honor, like that's really hit or miss with me, um, for the most part. And I mean, I do watch WWE product a
Hmm.
lot. Collision, I usually watch the next day if I can't watch it that night. So I mean, I pretty much watch everything I can. I I know that Triller, who used to be known as Fight TV, really likes my credit card. So I mean, I do a lot of things. I do watch quite a bit. So.
I like that. What is your thoughts then? As someone that tries to fit a bit of everything in, Rob, I'm curious to know what is your thoughts on the current tribalistic landscape of wrestling?
I I have no problem with people that have a preference. Like if you have a preference for one thing over the other, that's absolutely fine and that's
Mm.
normal too. But when you start giving other people grief or you start belittling people, um, or start going out of the norm, like what anybody would consider out of the norm, where you put down others because they don't like what you like. I think that's just absolutely 100% ridiculous. I think people should like what they like, and I think if you get to the point where you're insulting others
Mm.
because they don't like what you like, it's I am no use for that. Like I don't need that person around me or like in my life for like I don't need to see their tweets or anything. And I don't have anybody I'm close to that is like that, or I don't really know anybody that's like that. I have no problem like if somebody prefers something over the other. Like I think that's perfectly normal. I
Yeah.
know I'll give you an example. Fightful usually gets a lot of grief because we're told we'll see tweets. I see tweets all the time saying we're under Tony Khan's payroll.
Mm.
Okay, whatever. That's not true at all. But guess what? If people in Fightful, my colleagues at Fightful, if they, I think some of them probably do have a preference for AEW just based on the way they talk. I'll be honest, I have a preference for WWE.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. I just prefer it. But don't get me wrong, I'll watch AEW and I like AEW. I like what they're doing. Uh, I think, I mean, right now, like you said, it's February. I love what they're doing with Harley Cameron. I think she's entertaining as hell. Kenny Omega's back. That's that's great enough for me, you know. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
and Hangman is Hangman. So, and you got Will Ospreay, and it's still good TV. It's still great TV, and I'm not saying anybody is wrong for preferring AEW over WWE or preferring AEW over or WWE over AEW. It's just you like what you like, but when it gets to the point where you're insulting others, I just think that's a little too, just a little too out there. And even like if you're a person that's not insulting others and you have like a tribalism, like that's like I have no problem with that. That's
Yeah.
what you prefer. There's nothing wrong with it. The only time I have a problem with tribalism is when it gets to the point where you are, or is to when a person is just getting like ridiculous with their like where they're starting to insult people when stuff like that. That's where it gets to the point where it's just not needed.
I
Because in the
understand.
yeah, and the only thing I'll say is because for the most part, all the wrestlers want the others to succeed, whether they're in
Yeah.
WWE, Impact, or TNA rather, or New Japan. They all want each other to succeed. So I find it strange that people want another company to suffer. It just baffles me. But yeah, sorry to go on that diatribe there.
No, that's cool. I knew because based on Twitter conversations we've had, I know your feelings on it. So to be totally honest, dude, I know it'd give me, from a selfish perspective, I know it'd give me a very good clip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, I understand, and it probably will. So that's how I feel, and I don't think if people if people have an issue with that, that's fine. Like, I mean, we're either getting paid by WWE or AEW, it seems like people say. I mean, it okay, if that's what you believe, you're wrong, but just whatever, that's how I
Yeah,
feel about it.
definitely. How do you deal then, Rob, before we get into how you joined Fightful and stuff? How do you deal with the negative side of social media? Like you said, depending on the day, you're on AEW's payroll or WWE's payroll. Do you know what I mean? How do you deal with the negative side of social?
I do a lot better than I used to now. Like now it's just in one ear and out the other. Like it literally is. I just I just move and block, I just continue to just let it go. The only time I'll say something is if people are getting like if they're insulting like somebody like I care about or a friend, then I kind of get like a little irritated, but I just try to move on from it because they're
Mm.
just not worth. my time. I'm not saying I'm better than them or anything. It's just I'm saying that they are not worth my time, and I just move on. I used to be really bad, and it used to like annoy me, and
Hmm.
it would it would I don't really know the right way to say it, but it wouldn't ruin my day or anything, but
It would
it would get
affect
me.
you, for lack of a better
Yeah,
word.
yeah, it would definitely like have an effect on me, and but now it's just one of those things where I I can't help ignorance, you know? Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if somebody has a valid point or valid criticism, I will never complain about that. I won't. But if it's not valid, it goes out the window for me. If it's not valid at all, and sometimes you can tell when somebody, depending on how they say it, you can tell if somebody is like ignorant or if they're just doing what they're doing for the heck of it. Like, they're just they keep on saying the same thing, and you can usually tell,
oh
like
yeah, definitely.
if they're on an agenda based on their prior tweets or posts, social media posts. You can see if they're on some kind of agenda. Most people, that's the thing. The negativity sticks out because that's the ways the brain works
Yeah,
psychologically. But for the most part, everybody's pretty cool, Like most people are fine, like on social media. So,
I understand what you're saying completely there. How we've mentioned some of your Fightful colleagues before in this conversation. How do you join the great team that is Fightful Wrestling, though, my friend?
well, I started out just like pretty much anybody, or just like everybody else for the well, I shouldn't say like everybody else. I started out just watching the product, like watching
Mm,
their reviews, and I remember that at one time they were looking for moderators for their YouTube channel, so I
mm,
started that. I did that, and then Sean was looking for some people to help moderate the Facebook group, so I did
mm.
that, and I the one thing that I knew if I wanted to get in with Fightful, I needed to do like something. Like I needed to offer something that they didn't have. So I was always into like the merchandise side of wrestling. So I'd started writing I did a short little series called Beyond or Selling the Merch, where it was
Mm.
just about wrestling merchandise, whether it was at the time DVDs or shirts, like whatever was out there popular, like people were buying. I was promoting it basically. I was writing about it, like saying what was available. It was just kind of like a news update per se, but it was just
Yeah.
like wrestling merchandise or wrestling fandom stuff, like shirts, action figures, stuff like that. So I did that once every month, and then like once every 2 weeks, and then there was a point where Sean was looking for a AEW, somebody to do live coverage of AEW Dark.
Mm.
Uh, and I applied for that, and he and I got that job. So I did a good enough job that I got to Dynamite less than a month later. So I got Dynamite. My first live coverage of Dynamite was the night Sting debuted.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so that was a good night. So yeah, that was my first night, like being on the main Fightful side and doing things. And I just kind of stuck around and just when asked if I could, when there were chances to do, like when opportunities would come up, I would jump up and do them if I could. Like if it was something I could do, I would do it.
Mm. You talk about there, Rob, opportunities that come up, you'll do them. What are some goals, maybe some opportunities that you're like, if Fightful or I don't know, another site was like, oh, could you do this? What is something that you're like, I'd like to do this in the future if it came up?
The thing is, it's nice is been able to do pretty much everything that I've wanted to do at Fightful. I've gotten to write like a news like article, news story. Um, the only thing I haven't done that I hope I get to do sometime is review a WWE show. I've done AEW Collision. I've I've done a few other shows. I've done the TNA post show.
Mm.
before. I've done AEW Collision. I've done like AEW Battle of the Belts, but I've never done a WWE post show. So that's something I would love to do sometime. But it's not like a must or anything. It's just something I'd like to do one day. And but I don't really. I just look for opportunities more than anything.
Mm.
And so that's really about it because I, I'm I'm having fun and um being at Fightful I get it's just I'm doing what I like to do. So like as far as like opportunities come up, I try to do what I can and that's really what it comes down to as far as like future things. I don't really know like what I could be missing, for the most part, because I've gotten to do a lot of things. So when new opportunities come up and I know that I have a chance to help out, I do it.
That's really, really cool. What motivates you in that mindset to be like, oh, I'll help out with this. Don't worry about it. What keeps you motivated in that mindset?
I like to be I like something about me is um I I like I like it when I can be depended on,
Mm. Yeah,
like for I like to be depended on, and I just I just love wrestling, so getting to do some of that stuff is it's not really work for me. That's the thing. It's really
mm.
it doesn't feel like it. So that's why it doesn't bother me like at all. Like I know that I think that's one of the great things is I'm doing what I'm getting to cover something I love and
I understand what you're saying
it
completely.
it doesn't. So yeah, if it's something that's not like a big deal, or if it's something I can do and it doesn't compromise, like the thing is, if I know I can't do it and somebody else can do it better, I'm not gonna try to do it just to do it. Like if somebody
Yeah,
can do something better, I'm all for doing that because I want the best. I want the best for the site is what I want. Like even if something happened where I left tomorrow, I'd still want the best for Fightful, and
yeah.
that's the way it's always going to be with me.
You talked about the even if something happened and you left tomorrow, you might not have an answer for this, but I'm curious to know what would make you move on from Fightful.
Ooh. Uh, uh, the only way I'd really move from Fightful, I think, is if I was asked to leave. Um, but I hope that never happens.
Oh, so do
But
I. Sorry if
yeah,
that question caught you off guard, by the way.
no. I've never. I mean, I don't really know. Like, I mean, would I be disappointed? Absolutely. But if it's something that, if it's something that's best for not only me or if it's best for Fightful, I'm gonna do what it is. I mean, that's the way I look at it because I did want the best for like everything, like when it comes to that. Um, and I don't anticipate, and granted, I know the way the question was asked, I don't anticipate anything like that happening, but it's like one of those things where if something came up, I'm gonna do what's best for, I'm always gonna do what's best for me
Yeah.
first because that's the thing. Well, I mean, I'm kind of like contradicting myself here, but I'm always gonna do what's best, I think. That's the way to say it. I'm gonna do what's best, I think, either whether it's for Fightful or best for me. And
Mm.
that's that's the way I look at it. And if I don't know what's the best, I'll go to somebody I trust and ask them. But it's something I don't. I hope I never have to answer that question though, or if I never. I hope I never have to do that. I hope if I leave Fightful, it's under my terms, and I don't want that
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry if that question caught you off guard. I didn't mean
no,
to do like
no.
a
It's
I
that's
didn't
the thing.
mean to
I
do like a shoot. It was
no.
more of it was just a genuine question because you brought
Yeah.
it
No.
up.
No. Like I really don't know how or what the reaction would be, but I know like it would suck, but it's one of those things where sometimes we just have to do what we have to do. I hate I don't really care for the saying it is what it is, but in that case, I think it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. And if it's something I can control, cool. If it's something I can't control, well, there you go too.
I understand what you're saying completely there. Excluding Maggie, because obviously we'll talk about your amazing show with her in a second. Who is the fightful person that you're like, cool, I get to do a show with them? Or who's the person that you're like, it'd be fun to work with them a bit?
Like that's a good question because there's so many people that I enjoy working with. Um, I've always wanted to do one show with Jeremy Lambert, because I find him hilarious.
Mm,
Um, I've done some review shows with Joel Pearl. I like working with Joel. Um, Cresta, who does our TNA um, review along with Collision, I've
mm.
done shows with her and she's the best. Like
She's
if
hilarious.
yeah, if I could do a show with her anytime, I will. Like anytime, I'll do a show with her. She's awesome. I've done a prediction show with Sean. I always like working with Sean. I'll try to have Sean on my show anytime he can jump on. So Sean's obvious person. Um, Kate, I I got to do a show with her a few years ago. I like working with Kate. I like working with everybody. Like really, I'll work with anybody. There's really not one person where I'd say, So it's one of those things where like I'll take anything like I can do. Like so, it's one of those things. It's fun. I always like challenges more than anything. So
Yeah.
if it's something, I'll work with anybody. And I don't know if the same could be said about me. I don't know if everybody would feel the same way about me, but um, that's okay. Like I just like to have fun, and if I can do a show that they want me to do a show, I'll do it.
I think, given both of your dynamics, I think a show with you and Alex Pulaski would be fun.
That would be interesting. I know it would be. It would be. I would like to do a show with Alex too. I haven't done a show with him before, and that would be that would be fun because I think we are different with our opinions, so it would be very interesting. The thing is I like Alex a lot because
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's brilliant, and he makes a lot of good points that I don't think about. But we are very different with the way we feel about uh like the product and stuff, and that's perfectly fine. Like I think that's great that you can not agree with somebody and listen to their point. I think
Mm.
I think if more wrestling fans were like, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I think if more wrestling fans were open like that, I think I think they'd be a lot happier online, but I can't something I can't help there. But that's the thing. If you have an opinion on wrestling, that's cool. Like I like it.
Oh,
It's just where you
definitely.
where you get to the part where you're insulting others, that's where it draws the line for me because it's just not needed.
No, I understand what you're saying completely there. You brought up the fact that you love working with Sean. What is, because Sean, in my opinion, is one of the goats in this space. We talked about it a little bit last time, and he said that you taught you said that he taught you to sort of just be yourself as a
Yeah.
creator during our last conversation. But what is some of the things that people in front that see in front of the camera might not understand about Sean behind the scenes?
Sean, man, that's a good question because I think with Sean, you see what you see is what you get. Like he's honest. Um, like that's the thing about like Sean. He he expects he does if it's something he wouldn't do, he wouldn't expect you to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's the thing. Like he I just I like working with him because I learn like from him. Like I learn new things. He's great. It's um I think that's the biggest thing that like I take away from it. Like he's honest. And I like that. Like there's not many people that are honest in this. in this world for that matter.
Yeah.
Um, and he does a lot of good things. Like that's one thing that I love about Fightful is how like giving we are. You know,
Yeah.
we a couple weeks ago I asked Sean if we could donate our our half of our super chats and what we call humper chats, like basically um, like donations that we received in our show, if they could go towards an animal shelter in Los Angeles for the wildfires. And Sean was
Yeah.
perfectly okay with that. Not many people would just be like you usually have to go work on it, but Sean was just like that. Like we're very charitable, and I love that about not only him, but I love that about Fightful. Um, like anytime he does like a wrestling appearance, it goes to a charity. I think
Yeah.
that's outstanding. And so, yeah, like I've learned a lot. Like the thing that I've learned the most is just be real
Mm.
and like be yourself. And I think it's helped me out with my show just
Mm.
by learning that from him because I try to add like some humor into the show. I mean,
Yeah.
this past Friday, or well, my last show, I had a bit where um I basically put my face over somebody else's and basically said I was like their relative calling into calling into the show, like,
Yeah.
and I did like 5 or 6 different people, like it was and just this and it was basically me to see if I could pop Maggie, like that was
Yeah.
what it was, but it was also to make other people laugh, I hope, and it worked. So I mean, it was a ridiculous segment, and that was the thing. I was being myself, and when you're in this kind of work, if you're not yourself, you're going to be miserable. So that's the biggest thing I'll tell anybody. If you're wanting to be in wrestling media, you have to not only you have to be yourself, but you have to be entertaining.
Mm. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. So we brought her up a few times on this show. So how does the great show that is coexisting with Rob and Maggie start, my friend?
Well, how we began was, um, I think it was summer of 2021.
Mm.
I messaged Maggie. I knew I wanted to do a show. Like I knew I didn't have experience, so I knew I would have to do something like if I wanted to get on Fightful, I would need to do something on Fightful Select.
Mm.
Because they were always looking for, so I was always looking for material for that. So I knew that was my way to get into Fightful even more was to do a show on Select. So I needed the one thing that I learned, one of the first things I learned from Sean is be you got to be different. Like you can't be the normal podcast thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't have just 2 white guys talking about wrestling. You need to be what makes you different.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So I wanted there weren't many podcasts with men and women talking wrestling. So I wanted to get a woman that like I wanted to get somebody that I was thought was awesome, somebody I knew that would love wrestling, would talk wrestling, and that I knew that would make it different. That's like what would stand out about our show. And the first person I thought of, like, okay, what can I make? What was first? Like, who should I try to do a show with? First person came to mind was Maggie. She was the first person and the only person I messaged.
Did you two
And
connect? I don't know if I've ever asked you
we were on a Fightful watch along. I had no idea who she was. She just popped on, and I thought she was hilarious.
that.
And
Mm.
that's 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 what did it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely what did it.
So you talk about
So,
there, my friend, messaging her and things like that. I know it took you a while to convince her. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah, because I told her when I asked her if she was wanting to if she had interest, she did, but she didn't want to do it right then. She needed to think about it. She had
Mm.
interest, but she wasn't sure. So I said, okay, well, there's not like any hurry because um like I didn't sell it yet to like anybody. My goal was to
Yeah,
have the show in place, like, hey, this is what we want to do, and then I would pitch it. So I waited. Like she told me to give her some time, and I'm like, hey, this was my first choice, my only choice, so yeah, I'll give you as much time as you need.
yeah,
And then one day I got a random DM and she said, let's do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Cool. Like I was like, I didn't give her a timeline or a guide. Like I just said, let me know like when you're comfortable. And I would just, if it's something where in a few months where you just know you don't want to do it, just let me know so I can at least try to move on with it. And
yeah.
so I gave her as much time as she needed and she just messaged me and said, let's do it. And then I sold it to Sean and I think it pretty much got greenlit because I told Maggie was involved. Um, but yeah, it was uh, Sean liked the show name because coexisting, like that was a big thing. Can they coexist with tag team
Yeah.
wrestling? And that was the goal, like coexisting with Rob and Maggie. We're coexisting. So um, that was what did it, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. 3 years now.
How did you know Maggie would be perfect for that show, my friend?
Just the way she is, the way she was on that watch along. I mean, I did two other watch-alongs with her after that, before, like I didn't, what did it, like the day I knew that I wanted to do a podcast with her was the day that I hosted the SummerSlam watch-along. It was the SummerSlam, that was in Las Vegas. I think it was SummerSlam, maybe it was SummerSlam 2021 is
Mm,
when it was. I hosted that watch along because Joel, who usually hosted the watch alongs, he was actually at SummerSlam that year, so I got
mm,
to host it. And after doing that show with her, like that's when I knew, like if I like that's who I want to do a show with. That was the
yeah.
person, and that's what did it.
What does Maggie mean to you now? Now that you've become, don't get me wrong, you were very friendly beforehand, but now you've become so close with doing the show and things like that. What does she mean to you?
Oh, I mean, she's one of my dearest and best friends. Like that's that's what she means to me. Like we talk every day. Um, like we're part of each other's lives now. It's just one of those things where like she's one of my best friends, and
Mm,
it's yeah, I just like she's everything. Like like
yeah.
I have a blast doing the show, and I wouldn't do this show anymore. Like if something happened where she didn't want to do the show anymore, coexisting would stop. Because I
Mhm.
wouldn't do this, and we came to that agreement that if if it ever came down to it where one of us had to stop the show, the show ends, coexisting ends.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not going to be coexisting with Rob and Sally or Rob or Maggie and Joe or anything like that. It's just coexisting is done. And hopefully that doesn't happen for a very, very long time.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's what she means to me. She's one of my dearest friends. And we want the best for each other. Obviously, yeah, I mean, just typical, like, typical friendship, like just,
Yeah.
uh, we give each other crap a lot. Um, and I mean, it's great. Like, she's awesome and, couldn't ask for a better tag team partner when it comes to doing this stuff. So
That's really, really cool, my friend. I'm
yeah.
curious to talk about burnout as a creator with you because you do it all, man. You do writing, you do reviews, you do podcasts. How do you deal with burnout as a creator? And I'm also curious to talk about in a previous conversation we had, where I believe when we had Maggie on the show, when we had all three of us on this show, you said podcasting was your drug. So how do you deal with burnout as a creator?
Hmm. That's I really don't know. Like I haven't. I I think when I do get tired, I just kind of battle through it. Like I
Mm.
think that's the biggest thing is because like I said earlier, I love doing this stuff, so it's not really work to me.
Yeah,
Um, so it's it's fun. Like now, like I even have more responsibility with Fightful. I do a lot of the graphic work.
yeah,
Um, so I do the thumbnails and I do like I help set up the podcast and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I mean the review, like I don't do the I don't write as much as I used to because of like my hands cause me issues. Like so I had to kind of slow down from that, but I still do a lot of things. Like I like doing I like doing the thumbnails. I like doing um pretty much anything they want. Like I'll try to do, So I don't as far as like burnout, I don't really deal with it. I haven't. And if it I mean there's some days where I just want to get away from wrestling.
yeah,
But even then, I still do what I need to do. I still cover my responsibilities, and But um, I think that's the thing. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is um, sometimes you just do need to step away from wrestling. Like, because if you're always around it, you can it can get tiring. So
yeah,
it's nice to kind of take a day off from it, but and that usually is all I need. Like, and I'm not saying like this is something that maybe happens like once every 2 months where I just need to like not watch anything. I don't need to go online. I don't want to hear anything. Like the only time it's important to me is if you have to contact me on my phone, like not like if it's like a text message from a friend, like that's instead of like going into my DMs or something like that. That's really it. And I still love it. I just need a break from it. So
yeah.
um it's but I haven't um dealt with that issue much, if at all really, um that I know of, or it hasn't bothered me enough anyways,
Yeah.
where it's something I've noticed.
No, I understand what you're saying completely. It's just a conversation that I have a lot on this show.
Yeah,
As someone, Rob, that was on, this sounds so corny, but the ground floor of Tom Talk Flourish, because you were, was it 2021 when we first connected?
I might have been. It might have been. I don't remember the year, but it's been a couple of years now, so 2021 might be it, or very early 2022 if it wasn't
Mm,
2021.
mm. I'm curious to know, where have you seen, this is such a self-indulgent question, but here we are. Where have you seen me improve? What do you enjoy about these conversations? Everything in between.
Oh man. The biggest thing is I like learning about others. So like watching you do this show with others, it's been great. So I think more than anything, I think the questions, everybody's different. So I like the way that the questions are asked and how um you like how you do that. Like you ask different questions by how you know people or how you want to learn from them, and
Mm,
that goes a long ways. And that's kind of how I do my show. Like
yeah.
I try to change it up. We try to change it up here and there. So I think that's the biggest thing is you're evolving, and that's what you have to do in this entertainment
Mm.
slash media thing that we do. You have to
And
evolve.
definitely, my friend. Something you talked about is evolving. And I think what's really cool about your show, I'm going to butcher the guy's name, and I do apologize, my friend. But is it Soupy?
Yeah, soupy. Yep.
Soupy. He does these really cool compilations of bits of your show every
Yeah,
week. So, what does that mean to you to have
man.
someone pull things out from your show and be like, we did say something that was funny?
Yeah, oh, Sippy is fantastic. He is a wonderful person. Um he is a good person, and he has helped us out uh a lot just by helping promote our show, and he's made us laugh like like his clips, usually at the expense of Maggie, which is
Mm.
good because she's the one that causes the controlled chaos, as I like to say. Because hey, I'll be the first one to say that we are the show that is like, if you had a show like that needed a warning on it, it's
Mm.
our show because of Maggie. I mean,
I've done
I
your
told
show. It's hilarious.
yeah, I've told Maggie that like, look, hey, like, we can pretty much say what we want, but just do me a favor. Just don't drop an F-bomb within the first 7 seconds because we don't need to be demonetized,
Yeah.
just 7 seconds. That's all. That's the only thing I ask. And we've never had that issue. So, and I think if we did have that issue, I think we only came close once, and I think it was me that caused the issue because I don't even
Yeah.
remember what it was. So, but no, Soupy, he does so much. He's genius too with the way he does like some of the editing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show, but he did a Full House intro um
Mm.
for us, like the TV show Full House, where he showed
Yeah.
he played the music, he did the same thing, the font that was used, and put different people of Fightful on there, and it was classic. And yeah, it was just he's great, and he's 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 a great guy more than anything. He's a very good guy. What's cool, and Maggie got to meet him this past summer. He was in Bulgaria on summer on his vacation. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so that was cool. So um, maybe one day I'll get to meet him too, and I hope that's the case because he seems like a really good guy, and I've talked to him, and yeah, he's awesome, and I know that we're both very thankful for him because um, he's just he's awesome. I mean, that's I don't think our show's um successful without him, or at least
Why do
I
you
know it
feel
does.
like that, my friend?
Because of like the way I feel like that is because we get to promote like our show because of him because he knows how to like show the like hilarious things and get those clips out like that help help
Mm.
promote our show, and he does it because he likes us too, like he's our friend, so he wants the best for us. And yeah, and like that's the thing, like that's gone a long ways for us. And yeah, it just he, he's he's good. He's a good guy, and I don't like it. It's something like we have so many like great people that watch our show on a constant basis, like in our chat,
Mm.
and um, like he's always there. Like there's so many people. Like I could just go on and name them all, but I would feel bad because I would probably forget one person, and I don't want to do that. So, but yeah, he's outstanding. He's a good guy. Um, he's like I said, done so much, like just helping us like advertise like our show because we don't have the best time slot. Friday afternoons is not a good time, like, but it works
Mm.
best for Maggie, so that's why we do it. Like so,
Yeah.
and that's cool with me because we want to do a live show more than anything because doing a wrestling show tape or like is it's just not fun because you can't be engaging with people. So Fridays it is.
You talk about Soupy meeting Maggie in person and things like that. Will you and Maggie ever meet in person, do you think?
The goal is this summer to meet. Like my goal is to get to London for Forbidden Door. That is my goal. Um I've the reason I didn't get to go to All In last year was due to some issues with passport, and hopefully those will be solved soon. I'm still
Mm.
dealing with the issues with that. Um but yeah, that's the goal. Like I want to meet her, otherwise I will fly her here if I have to. But she won't do that. She won't. She does not want to fly here. So I will meet Maggie, whether if I have to swim to get to her, I will meet her one day. And
That's really, really cool.
yeah,
And
that's
also,
that.
completely changing the subject, if you're at Forbidden Door this year, I may be there.
Yeah, so that would be cool. That would be awesome. I would go out of my way to meet you for sure, even if you didn't get to go.
I hope so, because this is the thing. Like, you've always been really cool with me, even with the boxing videos. It's like he doesn't have to be nice. He's always been a nice dude, though. I really appreciate it,
Oh, oh, that's the thing. Like I really like that you send me those videos or like you tag me in those videos because I like seeing people succeed. And you're kicking ass when you do that. Like, like not many people will go show themselves boxing and stuff like that. So like you getting out there, it's awesome. Like it's great. And I like getting tagged in those. So
I really appreciate that, my friend. As we look at wrapping this up, Rob, because believe it or not, we've been talking almost an hour, and I do want to be respectful of your time, my friend. Before we do the classic wrap-up segment of generic wrestling questions, I'm curious to know, you talked about earlier how much fun you have with podcasting and things like that, but do you view your career as a success for one? And then second of all, for whatever reason, say you stepped away, even just part-time, what would you want your legacy to be?
man, um, I don't really know. Like I feel like I'm successful because of where I'm at.
Mm,
Like I know there's a lot of people that would love to be in the spot I'm at. Like I'm in. Like I know that. There's people that would love to could say they have a podcast at Fightful. There's people that would love to say they work for Fightful. Um, so I know I'm very lucky and very fortunate to be where I'm at. And I'm very thankful for that. As
mm,
far as like my legacy, I've never thought of that, like from a wrestling standpoint. Like
mm.
I know like it would be nice not to be forgotten, like but this is an industry where that you're not expected to like um it it's very rare to be one of those kind of people, like to be able to make it that far, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as like as long as I do like what I can and as long as I'm happy with what I've been able to do, that is all I want, and that would feel good for my legacy because um, that's what matters the most to me is just doing what I can and being um, just being a good person. Really,
Mm.
that's in this spot. I like being somebody that's hey, he's a good guy. Like I like knowing that so. I mean, that's a great question because I've never really thought about it, and I don't really know if that's even a good answer. But
No, I understand what you're saying completely, my friend. But as we wrap this up, Rob, we've done this segment before, but we always wrap the show up with a round of generic wrestling questions. Those of you that have seen my interviews before, when I swear I'll ask Rob his favorite match, favorite pay-per-view card, such as Double or Nothing 2019, his favorite wrestler's entrance scene, favorite tag team, and favorite wrestler. Basically, the questions I assume you're asked on social media. So now you'll have a place to be like, I've answered this, guys. Please go watch this. So, what's your favorite match of all time?
still, it hasn't changed. Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, SummerSlam 1991. That was that was my match. That was what got me.
Hmm.
I didn't get to watch it live. I remember renting the video as soon as I could. I think it was probably pretty close to Christmas, I think, when the video came out, and I
Hmm.
rented it at the store. I remember that exact day when I went to the store to get it. Because they got the new releases on Fridays, and I went straight to the store the day I knew it was coming out. I got my video. I got my I rented my video and I rented um a movie that day. I can't even remember the movie, but I remember I rented two things. I remember renting two things, and I remember pretty much watching SummerSlam 91, I think 4 or 5 times in 2 days. Or no, maybe it was 3 days. Like I watched it that many times.
Hmm.
Like and I probably watched that Bret Hart Mr. Perfect match at least, I would say at least 5 times, at least, because I know I would rewind it. I know there was a time I rewound it twice just to watch it, so I probably watched
Oh,
it more than
wow.
five. So,
That's really, really cool. Just quickly, you brought up that match, but I'm curious to know what is your thoughts, as it's the picture behind you, Rob. What is your thoughts on the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart?
I've only watched that match one time, believe it or
Okay.
not, and it's one of Bret Hart's. And some people say it's one of Bret Hart's best matches. I watched it only one time because Bret Hart lost the title. I don't want to watch it. Like other than that, I've never watched like when Bret's lost the title. I've never watched the match more than once. That's just the way it is. Summer King of the Ring '94. I take that back. I did watch that twice because um I don't remember why, but I've never watched um I've I'll take that back again. I've watched SummerSlam '92 a couple times, but that was the Intercontinental title. And
Yeah.
that was just cool because it was Davey Boy and just at Wembley and but yeah, the Iron Man match, it's crazy as it sounds. I've only watched that match once and will I go back one day and watch it again? I probably will. I probably will because I think um I should. But
Mhm.
another one I never went back and watched was the SummerSlam excuse me, Survivor Series '97, the Montreal Screwjob. I've never
I was
watched
going
that
to be my
again.
next question, actually.
Yep, I've never watched that more than once either.
That's really, really cool. What is your favorite overall pay-per-view card, my friend?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. Um, but I think that's probably changed since our last. Well, it had to change because I really liked WrestleMania Night 2 this year.
Mm.
I really liked it. I liked the card. Um, yeah, I would probably say that for now. Like there's probably other ones that come to mind, but that's the one that sticks out the most right now. For me.
That's really, really cool. What about your favorite wrestler's entrance theme?
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you a non-Bret Hart answer. Right now, it's probably that because he got his original one back, his original WWE one back is probably AJ.
Mm.
Because they did have that one at Royal Rumble. They didn't do the newer version that he had, so they went back to the one that he debuted with. Um, so that's probably my favorite. But I like Britt Baker's a lot, but you don't get to hear that much anymore either. She's not
No,
really on there, so she's not on TV as much. But I really like Britt Baker's, and I like Hangman's, and of course Swerve's is good. So I mean, there's so many good answers out there, but um,
you brought up
Kevin
Swerve's theme there. I'm
Kevin
curious to
Owens,
know, but sorry,
yeah, Kevin Owens is another one I really like.
you brought up Swerve's theme, my friend. Do you swerve when you drive?
Oh, I definitely swerve when I drive on purpose, though, and I'm not
That's,
gonna swerve on camera though.
that's really,
No.
really cool. What about your favorite tag team, Rob?
Ooh, um, FTR.
Mm. Why did I speak to you as a fan?
Because I probably answered this question on this show before. They are the only team that reminds me of Tully and Arn and the
Mm.
Hart Foundation. Like they are both teams wrapped up in one. Um, that's just what they remind me of. And they're just a great tag team. And I enjoy watching them. They're really good. Dax and Cash and um they're just fun to watch. I think their
Yeah,
matches are good, and I I really enjoy. Um, I really like the Street Profits too. I really enjoy those guys. They are um, fun to
the who?
watch.
Sorry.
The Street Profits.
Oh, Street Profits. Sorry, I
Yeah,
misheard what you said.
yeah. The Street Profits are fun to watch. They're really good. And it's really cool to see Motor City Machine Guns in WWE.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to seeing them wrestle more than like DIY and um Street Profits. I'm hoping to see them wrestle more teams soon. And
Yeah.
hey, maybe one day we'll get to see them wrestle the Lucha Brothers like in WWE. That'd be cool. I'm hoping one day we get to see that. So
I'd like to see that. And then finally, Rob, as we wrap this up, the biggest generic question, in my opinion, we've talked about him a lot on this show, but who's your favorite overall wrestler?
Bret Hart. Um, Bret Hart, he's the one that got me like he's the one that kept me into the business when a lot of people weren't watching. Like when my friends stopped watching because it wasn't cool. Like I still watch because of Bret Hart. He is the excellence of execution for a reason. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Um, he did that. Like he kept me in it. And he'll always go down as my favorite. My for somebody that's wrestling right now, even though he hasn't wrestled much because of his injury, but AJ will be my favorite wrestler. I'm anxious to see what John Cena does on his retirement tour or retirement things, and Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay are two people that I love to watch, and Swerve Strickland, um, he's he's awesome. I love watching him, and I mean, there's so many that I love and respect. There's just
Yeah,
so many um, it's crazy. I really enjoy watching Io Sky. There's just so many that I respect and I love to watch. It's hard to say like I have a favorite now because like I know like none of them are Brett. So that's the thing, but they are all like really good and people I like. So it's one of those kind of things.
that's really, really cool. As we wrap this up, Rob, you know this, you've been on the show a few times. The question I end this show on is I believe as YouTubers, podcasters, even just people with social media, we're all sort of going to live forever in a very, very strange way. If you think about it. So, what is one piece of content you're like, please remember me for that? Then, what is one that you're like, nah, I'm good. You can forget about that.
Um oh man. Um I think like from a content standpoint, um one that I'd like to be remembered about was oh man. Um I think after Bray died, like I
Mm,
remember talking about that and how much that like hit me and how much that of how much he had an effect on people and
mm,
how much he was loved. And I think that will go down as one that I one that means a lot to me because it just it just hit like different. It was just something about that episode. The biggest one that I know I won't forget is like talking about when my dad um got cancer,
yeah.
um, or had cancer. Um, that was I remember not wanting to do the show that day, but I know when I do the show, it helps me. Like it's like you said earlier, it was it's my boost. It makes me forget about things. It makes me forget about the outside world. So, um, like that was a pretty tough day, but getting to talk about it and showing how I felt and that meant a lot. As far as like things that I hope people can forget or before I got a new computer a couple of years ago when I had computer issues all the time during the podcast, my God, that was awful. Boring times, just embarrassing times more than anything. I'm glad those don't happen anymore. Um,
Mm.
because I would always do a bit where when I'd come back, I would dump a glass of water on my head. So just to try to get people to forget about it. So I'm glad those are over with. So, um, yeah, it's like, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That I can recall. There's probably something like once we're done, I'll remember it. But
I
yeah,
understand. I understand what you're saying completely. As always, I want to say thank you to my guest, Rob Wilkins, for another great conversation. If but please promote yourself, Rob. Where can the good people find you? Your what, etc.
yeah. Follow me on X at Rob Wilkins. That's ROBWILKINS. Otherwise, I'm also on Instagram at Fightful Rob and on Threads at Fightful Rob. And then every Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern on Fightful Overbook or FightfulOverbook.com. Check us out. 3 o'clock Eastern. We are a fun show. We are ridiculous. We have a good time. Rob and Maggie, coexisting with Rob and Maggie. Yeah, check us out.
It's well worth doing, guys. One of the hardest working people in this space, one of the nicest in this space, but someone I do not think I'd still be in this space if they weren't in it. So if you guys like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter or X at Tom Talks Rubbish, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye now.
Thanks for watching this Tom Talks Rubbish conversation. Before you go, please make sure you leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube, as well as follow Tom Talks Rubbish on Twitter/X.